Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a policeman giving a talk to some students. First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 6.
I am officially the University Liaison Officer, which means I have a specific brief to act as a go-between for the university and the police, if there are problems, and also to offer an official presence on or around campus and give individuals advice if they need it. Now, my job is very important to me. I take security and reducing the threat of crime on this campus very seriously. Because although I don't actually live on the campus, both my daughters attended this university, and my son is still here. So, I am a local policeman in every respect. I have been the University Liaison Officer for the last 5 years, but I have been in the police force for 15 in all. Now, on to some advice. The first thing I want to stress is that this university is a comparatively safe place to live. We have had no serious crimes here in the 5 years I've been here. In fact, crime of any sort is very rare on the campus. We have good security here, and although there are a lot of staff and students, the security staff, including myself, make an effort to get to know your faces. However, as students, it is of course wise for you to take precautions to protect yourselves against crime when you are off the campus. As I said, the campus itself is really very safe, but there is a large park right behind it, McGowan Fields, and although this is a beautiful place to sit or walk during the day, at night you must be careful. 1 or 2 students have reported unpleasant incidents at night while walking in the park, although it must be said that no major incidents have been reported. Now, there are no areas in town which I advise students to avoid as a general rule, but the town centre is more hazardous than other areas, especially in the evenings on Friday and Saturday. On these days, there is often fighting after people have had too much to drink in the pubs and clubs in the area. There have also been a number of robberies and muggings.
Before the talk continues, you have some time to read questions 7 to 10.
Well, that was my advice to you. Most of it is common sense. But remember, crime always happens when you least expect it. But there are ways to protect yourself. First of all, the university provides all students with personal alarms. If you are attacked, you can use this to put off your attacker. Secondly, don't take anything with you that cannot easily be replaced, like a passport, or things of sentimental value. Leave jewellery and other valuables in your room when you go out. Always make sure you take something which will identify you, perhaps your student card or your driving licence. Thirdly, when you are out late at night, come home in twos. It's much safer if you're with a friend than on your own. And obviously, don't have very much money on you. Finally, if you do know you'll be late back and can't use public transport, tell someone else when you expect to be home, and if there's a problem, they can raise the alarm. So, that's about all from me, and I wish you a pleasant and safe stay here. Thank you.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear two students, Sarah and John, discussing their choices of courses to study. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Hi, John.
Hello, Sarah. What are you doing in here? Haven't all your exams finished?
Well, yes, they have. But I've got to make my decisions for next year. I still haven't chosen what courses I'm going to do.
That's why I'm here. Why don't we have a look through the brochure together?
That's a good idea. I'm not sure about some of these courses on medieval history.
No. In fact, I'm not sure about the whole second year. I was talking to Peter Lilly the other day. You know, he's just finished the second year, and he was saying that the workload is higher in the second year because you have to read all these medieval documents in Latin. I mean, the first year's been pretty hard, but next year will be worse. There are more assignments in the second year. It goes up to 6 a year for each course, doesn't it?
Yes, but we've got the experience of the first year to build on, so it must get easier. And there isn't so much secondary material in the second year. There aren't so many books about the medieval period.
Don't you believe it. I think this year's going to be hard work.
Well, perhaps I'd better give up my job then.
You're working as well?
Yeah, I've been working in the same place for over a year now. Only part-time, you know, just Saturday mornings in the market. I mean, it doesn't pay much, but it's interesting, and it gives me a bit of extra cash for my textbooks. Anyway, what about these courses? How many do we have to take? I remember Professor Bolt saying something about 4 courses in the second year. Is that right? Or do we have to do a certain number of credits?
Both. We have to select 4 courses, but for some courses there are 2 parts. They count as one course. It's 6 in total because everyone has to do Europe, 1100 to 1500, and Chronicles of the Church. Anyway, when you've chosen your 4 courses, they should add up to 80 credits. Have you got the course brochure there?
Yes. Look, under second year history. There it is.
You now have some time to read questions 16 to 20.
Right. Yes, look. Most of these courses are 20 credits each, except for the 2 short courses about the Crusades. They're 10 each. Now, medieval society. What do you think?
Well, actually, I think it looks really good. Dr. Smith is okay. And you don't have to buy any books except a study pack. The best thing is there are no special requirements. No Latin or medieval English.
The next one is Development of Technology with Mr. Mills. Ah, this is a good one. Peter recommended it. It's all about the way printing developed and early science. In fact, I think I could get a copy of Bouchier's History of Science from him. That means I wouldn't have to buy it.
That does look interesting. And that doesn't have any special requirements either. What's next? Ah, here they are. 10 credits each, the Crusades. You need French to do them. I suppose a lot of the documents are in French.
That's strange, look. There are different teachers for each part. I expect that's why it's 2 modules. Dr. Clare does the first part, but it's Dr. Shaker and Professor Lord for the second one.
So that only leaves Peasants and Kings with Dr. Reeves. Oh, look! You have to know French for this one.
Well, I must say I don't fancy any course that asks you to have Latin, but I think my French is good enough to read original sources.
Yes, mine too. Well, what shall we choose?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
First, you have some time to look at questions.
Hi. Okay, so you're John and Sarah, I'm Neil, and you're having some problems with a project you're doing on the marketing module of the Business Studies course. Is that right?
Yes, it's the one where we have to read the case studies of 6 businesses and assess their marketing and identify the main problems each one had.
So what exactly is the problem?
Well, we've been doing quite a lot of reading for it. Some of the readings we've looked at are quite difficult, but we still understand them, and they're interesting, so that's okay. It's taking a lot longer than we thought, though, so we're wondering if we can have an extension. We have a lot of other assignments too.
Well, extensions can be granted. However, it sounds like you're having issues with the planning of your time. Neither of you are sick or have had an accident, which are the only reasons that extensions are usually granted. The university's scheduling of deadline dates is organised so you can complete things on time.
Okay, we understand. We thought that would probably be the case.
Well, let's see how you're doing with it. So you were given readings on 6 different companies. You needed to examine the main weaknesses of each company with regard to their marketing strategy. What did you find out about each company?
Let's start with Stack Stationery. They were very experienced in marketing, as they have been in the stationery market for such a long time. Their profits have generally tended to increase continuously for many years. However, they had issues with their staff because they felt that too much money was being spent on marketing, but their wages did not increase for such a long time.
Princeton Windows were quite successful initially, as their marketing led to an increase in sales of 50%. However, this decreased again after a few months, so it just led to profits for a short time. They need to think about how they can sustain any increase in profit for longer periods.
MK Cars focused on the wrong thing, because they didn't really understand who their target market was. Most of their buyers of cars are young people, but they advertised in newspapers that older people usually read. It would have been better to go for magazines popular with the younger generation. You must learn everything you can about who you are selling to.
Lakeside Golf was probably the most successful of the 6 companies. They managed to generate a long-term increase in membership over a 3-year period. The only real issue they had was that they weren't ready for the increase in numbers of people coming to play golf, so some people started to complain about the service there.
Bryson's Meat seemed to be a bit of a disaster really all round. They actually saw a drop in their numbers of buyers, though it seems fairly sure that this was related to other problems outside of the company, rather than their marketing. There was a scare about meat during the period we are studying, and that meant that people bought less, so it may not actually be the company's fault.
Mojo's music shop, which sells CDs and DVDs, did pretty well. Their sales have been continuously increasing, and this is very good as they are in a very difficult market. A lot of people aren't buying music from shops anymore as they download it instead, so to keep going in that situation shows that they had a very successful marketing campaign. They will have to work hard on this though, due to the number of websites online providing the same service.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions.
Well, from listening to what you've told me, it seems like you have a fairly good understanding. For the assignment, you also have to say what you think will happen in the future. Let's choose Mojo's music shop. What about you, Sarah?
The company was established many years ago, and I'm fairly confident that this company can continue to be successful. As I said, they have shown that they have survived in a very competitive market. They had a very strong advertising campaign, and they seem very good at knowing where the market is going and how to change. What about you, John?
Well, I'm not so sure actually. There are just so few music shops that manage to survive these days. I do agree that they have been very innovative, but too many people want to buy things online, as it is so much easier and usually cheaper. Most young people don't even have DVD players these days and just listen to things on their phones. So I think eventually they will cease operating like most others.
That's two very different opinions. It's been said that they have a very good management team, but I'm not sure I agree with that, as they're a bit inexperienced. I would disagree with you, Sarah, and say actually that their advertising campaign, although good, needs to be improved and more original in order to keep sales high. As John says, it's such a competitive market, they need to do everything.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You are now going to hear a lecture about the behavior of dolphins. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Okay, today's lecture is about the behavior of dolphins. Dolphins are mammals closely related to whales and porpoises. There are almost 40 species of dolphin, and they vary in size from 1.2 meters and 90 pounds up to 9.5 meters and 10 tons. They are found worldwide, mostly in shallower seas of the continental shelves, and they are carnivores, eating mostly fish and squid. Dolphins are highly social animals, often living in pods of up to a dozen individuals, though pod sizes and structures vary greatly between species and locations. In places with a high abundance of food, pods can merge temporarily, forming a superpod, which groupings may exceed 1,000 dolphins. Membership in pods is not rigid, with interchange being common. Dolphins can, however, establish strong social bonds. They will stay with injured or ill individuals, even helping them to breathe and bringing them to the surface if needed. This altruism does not appear to be limited to their own species. A male dolphin called Moko in New Zealand was observed guiding a female pygmy sperm whale together with her calf out of shallow water where they had been stranded several times. Dolphins have also been seen protecting swimmers from sharks by swimming circles around the swimmers or charging the sharks to make them leave. Dolphins also display culture, something long believed to be unique to humans and possibly other primate species. In May 2005, a discovery in Australia found Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins teaching their young to use tools. They cover their snouts with sponges to protect them while foraging for food. This knowledge is mostly transferred by mothers to daughters, unlike primates, where knowledge is generally passed on to both sexes. Using sponges as mouth protection is a learned behavior. Another learned behavior was discovered among river dolphins in Brazil, where some male dolphins use weeds and sticks as part of a sexual display. Dolphins may also engage in acts of aggression towards each other. The older a male dolphin is, the more likely his body is to be covered with bite scars. Male dolphins engage in acts of aggression apparently for the same reasons as humans, that is, disputes between companions and competition for females. Acts of aggression can become so intense that targeted dolphins sometimes go into exile after losing a fight. Male bottlenose dolphins have also been known to engage in infanticide, which is the killing of their young. Dolphins have also been known to kill porpoises for reasons which are not fully understood, as porpoises generally do not share the same diet as dolphins and are therefore not competitors for food supplies. The main food of dolphins is fish and squid, and various methods of feeding exist among and within species, some apparently exclusive to a single population. One common feeding method is herding, where a pod squeezes a school of fish into a small volume known as a bait ball. Individual members then take turns plowing through the ball, feeding on the stunned fish. Corralling is a method where dolphins chase fish into shallow water to catch them more easily. Orcas and bottlenose dolphins have also been known to drive their prey onto a beach to feed on it, a behavior known as beach or strand feeding. Some species also whack fish with their flukes, stunning them and sometimes knocking them out of the water. When it comes to playful behavior, dolphins show various types, often including objects, self-made bubble rings, other dolphins, or other animals. When playing with objects or small animals, common behavior includes carrying the object or animal along using various parts of the body, passing it along to other members of the group, or taking it from another member or throwing it out of the water. Dolphins have also been observed harassing animals in other ways. For example, by dragging birds underwater without showing any intent to eat them. Playful behavior that involves other animal species with active participation of the other animal can also be observed. Playful human interaction with dolphins being the most obvious example. However, playful interactions have been observed in the wild with a number of other species as well as humpback whales and dogs.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you can guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.